This is The Real Shift with Templeton Walker
and Kristen Cantrell,
where we break down all things Real Broker, why we both decided to move our businesses to Real Brokerage. We interview top agents from across the nation, like you're going to hear today.
Welcome back to the Real Shift podcast. I'm Kristen.
I'm Templeton.
And today I'm so excited to have Katie Day in here. I always feel like you're like real famous, which you are, and you know all things real. So we're excited to have you.
Thanks for coming on.
What's up? I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming on, Katie. Can you tell the listeners where you're at and just kind of the cliff notes of your business and what you're up to?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Katie Day. I am a real estate agent and team leader. I run a team that's based in Houston, Texas. And I have been with Real since 2021. So it's been kind of a wild ride for a while.
Well, it's crazy because 2021 isn't that long ago, and you've built such a successful business just on the Real platform alone, not even talking about like your team and your production, but you're at like 4,300 agents we were just talking about. So impressive just to think
insane.
5 years. So cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been kind of crazy because it's changed a lot over the past 5+ years, and so it's been cool to see.
Yeah, and production-wise, like your main focus is YouTube, correct?
As far as
like your lead gen for buyers and sellers?
Yeah. So our team breakdown of our business is like mainly repeat and referral clients, like a sphere business. And then after that is agent referrals, and then after that is kind of social and YouTube and everything like that. So we have a decent
agents?
mix. It's not too heavy on one or the other. And so, yeah, it's something that's kind of always kind of changing a little bit, right? Some kind of leapfrog each other, but that's normally the order in which they're at.
Katie, how many agents on the team?
We have 5 agents on the team plus me.
Okay, and then how much production do you guys typically do?
Yeah, I think
Or
that
units.
is a good question, and I should always have that number on the top of my head, right? I think when I checked, we had sold like 60 so far this year or so. We normally sell anywhere between like 150-ish to 200 homes a year. So I think this year might be tracking a little bit less than that because like we're coming up, towards the midpoint of the year, but. You never know. It's always like if I do a sales contest and light a fire.
For a team of 6, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you, this has always been, for me, I tend to like want to scale and go wide, and like I've built some like big orgs before and big companies. But I do think that the SEAL Team 6 is better than like the Army. Mm-hmm. How have you fought the urge to add more bodies, especially because you obviously can attract? You have 4,300 people in your line.
Yeah.
How have you kept the team so niche? Because like that's a hard thing to do. That takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, I mean, so we've done it over the years, right? So we've been as few as like 4 agents, like I think, and then up to like 20, and like. I had that moment where I'm looking around and like half the people that are with us like aren't selling homes, and then like I don't really like a quarter of the people in the room, and like it was just kind of a situation where when we were growing, it wasn't always necessarily that everyone was the best fit, right? Because it's like similar to like your real estate business, it's a numbers game, and like not every single person you talk to is going to transact with you, right? And so like not every agent, like as much as I would love for every agent that comes into real estate to be successful, like they're not, right? And so that was tough for us. We also, since most of our business is organic, it's not like we have a Flex account or a Realtor.com account that like we have this influx of leads that need to be worked. Like we have a pretty, good system as far as like we do client events multiple times throughout the year. We, are continually doing things, like in our local neighborhoods and stuff like that. And so like that all generates business. As opposed to, people that like don't know us or online leads.
Yeah. So I think if somebody's like looking at you today and your success, like let's go backwards. I want to know, how did you get to 4,300 agents and have a successful team? Like maybe take us a little bit through that journey starting when you joined Real.
Yeah, for sure. So whenever like team leaders are looking to join Real, I think it's like a really good unlock to have a team, right, in agent attraction, because like if you have a decent sized producing team, like you automatically have 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 tier 1 agents in your, you know, that are producing, and it's really great. So then if you're bringing other groups on, like you're able to collect on multiple levels, right? And so I'm sure you guys have dug into that on other videos. I don't need to explain like the full, you know, thing on like unlocking tiers and stuff, but like, I think that that's really great. And so for me, that allowed me to have like unlocked agents on my tier 1 when I first joined. And so it allowed me to I don't want to say be more generous, but not be as selfish with revenue share, right? And like, I think, you know, both of y'all have been around long enough and you know, been at other companies and things like that. And it's like, it allowed me to, you know, take care of some of my people. So say like Temp, I was talking to you and I asked you like, oh, hey, well, like who else would you have like talked to if you were talking to someone at Real? And you're like, oh, well, I know Kristen, but I like wanted to talk to someone nationally or whatever. And I'm like, well, hey, like, why don't you name Kristen and then you get both of us, like if we were aligned, right?
Yeah.
Or now with co-sponsorship, you know, that's something that, you know, it's like, okay, well, why don't we co-sponsor, right? And then we both can pour into this person or into you. And so I started doing that early on, right? As far as like, you know, if someone was talking to me and I knew that they had already talked to someone that was in my group, I'd be like, hey, why don't you go to my tier 2? You know, and that way, like, we'll be aligned. And so over time, I've seen that, like, and I'm sure you guys see this as well, that like you have certain people in your groups that are like builders and just, you know, just naturally they seem to attract people. And so those people normally have really good relationships with other people in the industry or from coaching programs or from previous brokerages or from mastermind groups or whatever. And so I think like pouring into my people and then seeing the people that are like working hard at this and like trying hard and pouring into the Real community, like, and trying to take care of them as much as I can, if at all possible.
Yeah, I love that mentality. I think it's like everything I try to embody in all of my businesses is really being able to, that's like true collaboration over competition and just really being able to like, if you win, I win. And that's so good that you do that. And it is like co-sponsorship for anyone that doesn't know. What's so cool about Real is you can co-sponsor with agents like, you know, Katie and I co-sponsor, or wait, kind of. I forget how that works with Candace. She has another person in between us. But yeah, like we both have, you know, an interest in Candace's success, which is really cool because then Templeton also does. I don't know. It's a really cool web.
Well, the whole system just works well. I think the way the model works, right? And then when they came out with co-sponsorship, I think even Katie, we have one together, Trisha Gilliam. She hit me up and was like, hey, I'm looking for someone with these skill sets and a lot of the things that you're doing really well. And she mentioned your name. I go, well, let me put us in a group text, right?
Yeah.
So it's just so cool the way it does breed collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm always curious about, because I feel like agent attraction is somewhat of a snowball. That's how it's been for me. Is I'm almost at 700, and I've brought I have 52 on my front line, but a lot of my front line is like all my investor friends who sell like nothing. So like I think I have like the weakest front line in America. But it's been great, but it's like it takes some inertia, and I got to thank Kristen, and I always give her credit for it. It's like I didn't really even understand the model or wasn't like that excited about it until she showed me what was possible. And of my 700, you're what, 350, 400 of it?
Yeah, just below 400.
Which is you're basically saying you owe all your success to Kristen. I get it. Yeah.
No, I tell her. I'm always like, Kristen, you need a kidney? What do you need? Like, I will give you whatever.
No, I need a builder.
I know.
Go find me one.
So my question is, how many frontliners? And then when did it start to like pop? Like, did you have a Kristen in your world that you were like, oh my goodness, like I
think she has a lot of those.
Well, yeah, 4,300. You got it.
Yeah, there's a few of those in the group, right? So I mean, like for me right now, I have 97 frontline, but 54 unlocked, right? And some of those are half, and some of those are full. So it's probably actually less, or actually, it's more than 54 that are unlocked, right? Because some are half co-sponsored, right? And then some are directly with me. But you know, I think that as far as like timing goes, for me, it was difficult because like when I first got here, I didn't really understand it. Like I understood that there were tiers, I understood that there were these things, but like, you know, I wasn't really trying to be the person that was like going out and recruiting people, right? Like, you know, there's people that like the phone rings and you're like, oh God, like you think they're calling me to recruit me, right? And so I never wanted to be that person. But then also like, coming on in 2021, like things weren't great in 2021. Like it was taking a while to get paid. Like I came over in my first, you know, month, like we lost a commission check for a referring agent, And like, it was like not a lot of money, but this agent like flipped her shit on me. And like, you know, it looks bad on me that like our brokerage lost the check, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so like, and that was like back in like the lockbox days, and like now none of that exists. Like if something gets lost, like it's normally like a really serious thing. It's not like commonplace. So like, you know, for the first basically year, I was probably sitting at like 100 or less people, right? And then it's like like slowly like people started to come over that like either had been at like an EXP or, you know, kind of maybe sometimes Keller Williams, but like been at EXP. And like what's interesting is like, Kristen, like obviously you came over and like you had a group with EXP.
Yeah.
So like you knew how to do this, like the Dustins and the
Totally.
Claytons and the Noels of the world like knew how to do this. But like I had a lot of people that came from EXP that had no group at EXP or had like, you know, 50 people at EXP and then came here and have like 1,000.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, I think the right place, right time for them, because it's like people were interested in cloud-based, but they never would have aligned with you or them or whoever at EXP. But they're like, oh, I love this person, and cloud-based at Real makes sense. So I think like being early was good. For me, like, you know, I think I hit 1,000 in like the end of 2023. So that was like 2021 to 2 years in-ish.
Yeah.
But like I know a lot of people that have come over, you know, like the Dustins and Noels, like they just hit the ground running,
Yeah.
right, and hit it way faster. So you know, there's pros and cons to being early or knowing what you're doing and Real having some proof of concept.
Well, if somebody's listening right now too, I think it's important to really like showcase, because I think at Real we do it really well, where it is very much like we're not calling and recruiting people, we are attracting people, and people are showing up in our inbox. So why would you say that people are reaching out to you specifically?
You know, it beats me, right? I'm like, I don't know why you're calling me.
You know.
No, I mean, I think that like I try to do a good job of highlighting the things that we're doing or the things that are happening here without just being like throwing up Real all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's like wearing a shirt or wearing a hat. Sometimes that is, you know, just like sharing the things that people are doing or sharing other people's wins, right? So like if people are crushing it, you know, in production, if people are crushing it with agent attraction, like if people are hitting milestones of like, you know, a 150, 500,000, you know, whatever size group, like sharing that, and sharing other people's stories as opposed to me going out and just being like, I'm so amazing, you should join me.
Yep.
And I think that most people that reach out to me know, like, I'm not going to hard sell you. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, you know, the pros and cons. And, like, if it's not going to be a good move for you, like, I'm going to tell you that I don't think that it is.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, there's some people that, like, aren't that way, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, it's attraction versus chasing. And I think that a lot of us at Real do that really well.
You kind of said it, but I think what I have found is that people need to come to Real for Real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm the cherry on top. Kristen's the cherry on top. Katie, you're the cherry on top. Like, I'll be a bonus, but come to the brokerage for the brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, once they got aligned with it, and because Real has done an incredible job putting a great product out there, that it's a pretty easy sell once someone looks at the economics and the culture. I've just been like, look, it's like the worst sales pitch ever, but it's also kind of the best. I'm like, you're my friend. Like, call me. I'm going to answer whether you're at KW or EXP or Real. Like, you have me.
Yeah.
But you should look at this. And once people look at it, that has been pretty easy for me to convert. I just got to do a better job of making sure that I'm sharing the message, because I can get busy being busy.
Yeah.
And then I forget to tell people, like, yo, this is pretty great.
Yeah, you do a really good job of just showcasing and sharing all things Real to everybody. And I think one thing that, you know, a lot of people want to do agent attraction, but they do not even know anything about Real, and they don't tap into anything at Real. So it drives me nuts. I'm like, at the very least, like, go to Rise, right? But just see how are you plugging in? Because once you go to like the events that Real's putting on, or you're showing up to classes, or, you know, you do a weekly call. I know we do the agent attraction call. There's so many different calls, and find which one you want to plug into so that when people are asking, you can actually like talk about it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's just something that like you need to be like aware of, you know, and like whether it's AAU or masterminds or whatever, like just while you're on it, like snapping a picture on your phone, right? And then like even if you're posting at a later time, like just having that stuff in your phone to be able to share. Like I know for me, like even this week I was on the road and it was like I had to be like, oh, like let me make sure I get a picture. Let me make let's all get together real quick and take a picture, and like doing those things. So
even as we're sitting here, I'm just thinking about like, why am I not holding at least a weekly get some more information call, or I just haven't done that. Have you hit, this is more of a selfish question right now, but I'm sure people can relate. Did you ever hit these moments of complacency where you're like, all right, it's doing what it's doing, it's paying pretty well, I have a great group, but like that you weren't spurring more growth? Because I feel like I'm in that right now, and I think I need you to tell me to stop being a baby and like keep pushing.
quit being a little bitch. No, I think that I hope we can cuss on this, but
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think we go through ebbs and flows just in life of things, and there's like I hate when people refer to it, but like seasons of life and everything. You know, I think that for me, I know that there are people that like, and maybe not so much now, but especially in the beginning, they'd be like if you did this, then I'm going to do it too. Like I put my trust in you, and like Kristen, I'm sure you had a lot of this of like leaving EXP and coming to Real, right? People being like, okay, like I don't know if Real's for me, but if you've done the research and you think this is the right thing, then I'm going to go, right? And so like that just gives me like anxiety, right? Like that gives me anxiety, and like, you know, I want it to be good for you as good for you as it has been for me, right? And so for me, like I feel a responsibility to my people to help them win, right? And so like as a byproduct of that is me winning, right? Like if I am helping you to grow your network from 10 to 100 people, or, you know, from whatever your goals are. Like I have some of my people that are very interested in agent attraction. Like I have their goals in a note on my phone. Like it's my responsibility in my mind to help them grow. And then like, you know, when you're taking it off of like, oh, I'm making more money, but like if I'm helping you make more money, like, and then I also make money, that's cool. But like that for me has been like, gets me more fired up, because like I feel the responsibility for the people that came with me, one, and then two, like how, like I love seeing when people are sending me like screenshots and they're making like 20 or 30 grand a month,
I know,
right?
how
Or they're
cool.
making even 5 grand a month or 2 grand a month. I had someone the other day text me. They were like, yo, I'm getting $700 because someone closed the deal. Is this right? And it was their first rev share payment for their first person they brought on. I was like, yeah, now imagine if you had 10 people. They're like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like tangible when they actually get that money in their account. So for me, that's what I'm like. I'm just like, if I can pour into everyone else, like so hard for the next like year or two, like I think that will like help me to overcome the ebbs and flows. Yeah. But then also help me to like, you know, turn around and be making like a crazy, you know, crazy number.
Yeah.
So what is Real doing? Obviously, I'd like to touch on the acquisition of Remax. So if we could touch on that, and then I'd also like to ask you what your favorite thing that Real is up to right now that agents maybe do or do not know about. Yeah. So let's start with the Remax question. Real acquired Remax. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Remax agreed to let us buy them, basically. And so, you know, I think, you know, I don't know when this is airing, but like I think that like early June-ish, the SEC docs are going to be filed, and then like hopefully, you know, then government approval and SEC approval and all that, and then like shareholders have to approve. So it should close on the back half of this year, and then like we will be Real Remax Group and have like 100,000+ agents and be international and all that. And so in like the simplest sense, nothing is changing. Remax will still be Remax and Real will be Real. But, you know, there's a couple things that I think are really cool about it. One being, you know, obviously if anyone like has been watching Remax's agent count and like financials and things like that, like real estate stocks and tech stocks have been getting hit pretty hard, but like Remax has not been doing well financially, right? Like agent count's been declining, their market cap's been declining, their stock price, all that. And so like some of that hopefully is like Real's tech can help them to operate, like the franchise owners to operate more efficiently, right? And so then they operate more efficiently, they retain more agents, their agents are happier, they make more money, and then like, you know, they sell more homes and make more money and do all the things, right? And so that's like kind of that part. You know, what I do think is interesting is like we'll go from being like number 5-ish to the number 2 size brokerage just behind Compass International Holdings. And like, there's been so much freaking chatter about Zillow and Clear Cooperation and private listings and all of these things that like, Real has, and Tamir has been specific and like, he's like, we're not reacting to every single thing that happens. Like we're going to lead and do the things like, and do what's best for our agents and our agents' clients. And like they did a survey where like 95% of agents were like, we don't like utilize private listings, like to the extent that we need to have a private network, right? Like, yes, we sometimes have them. Like in Temp, I know you do a lot of development and like luxury stuff, right? So there's probably some stuff that you're doing that's not on market, but it's like, it's not like your marketing plan, right? And so, yeah, I just think that like being the number 2 brokerage will have like a little bit more weight to throw around, which I think is kind of fun.
Again, selfishly, it is our podcast, so I'm going to ask a selfish question. I would love to open up something down in Mexico, potentially in Cabo San Lucas or Cancun. Would this acquisition allow me to maybe do that now?
So I'm under the impression that like Real is just going to continue operating where we are. But when I think about it, right, like they're like, and I don't know how involved you guys were in like any of the Canadian openings and things like that, but like real estate in most states is like pretty similar, right? Like real estate in most states is like you're either getting paid in one check or two. It's an attorney or a title company. Like it's pretty easy, right? But in Canada, it's like it's so different. And so like international was always something like people always asked for, right? But like Remax is processing transactions in like 40 or 50 different countries, right? And so it's like they know how it works. So I think that like maybe in a long term, that might be something that like Real will also expand. But it's also like those are all independently owned franchises. So I don't know, but like I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a simpler path potentially down the road with the acquisition.
I mean, I think that like having the knowledge of how to do something is helpful, right? And being able to have like, this is how the bank accounts are set up, and this is how the transactions work or conveyancing or whatever words they use in that country. So I think there's definitely opportunity.
Well, I just don't want to waste my 3 Spanish lessons a week with my boy Robinson in Colombia. I want those to have an ROI.
Yeah. No,
okay.
that makes sense. You should at least just continue to go to make sure,
Exactly. All right. So that's the Remax. That's gives us some good insight.
Yeah.
What is Real up to on the brokerage side right now that you're just pumped about? Where you're like, agents potentially don't know about this or they're not utilizing it at the right level. Where you're like, this is exciting and agents need to know.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that everything that we're doing on the tech side is cool, and I don't think that everyone realizes that like Reason and everything that's in like Reason, not everything, but most of what's in Reason, like we own, right? So like the transaction processing stuff where you put in all your files and all that, like we own, right? And so like because of that and with Real Wallet, like you're able to borrow money against your like assets at Real, and so that's your revenue share and your commissions. And so it was interesting, someone the other day in a Facebook group posted and they were like, hey, has anyone used Real Wallet? I'm considering like taking a loan out from Real. And all of these people were saying like, hey, I took out $200,000 to buy an investment property. I took out $100,000 to buy a property for my mom. And like all of these things were like
all these really cool stories. That's so
cool.
like
really cool stories. And not just like, oh, hey, I needed, $10K to pay the rent. And I'm sure there's people that are doing that too, right? And like, but what's cool about it is like, it's not the commission in advance that then you have to pay this thing back and whatever. Obviously you have to pay the money back, but it's like you're paying it back on your future deals.
Yeah.
And then like if you're doing Real Wallet just on a smaller scale, I like the idea of like the tax account, right? Like I could just shake my agents every quarter when I'm like, all right, tax day is coming up this quarter. Like make sure you guys are making your estimated payments. And like people are like, and I'm like, guys, like I've been telling you 30%, just put 30% away. And so with Real Wallet, you can opt in for a tax account and say, I want to put 20, 25, 30, whatever the percentages are aside. And it just takes the money and it puts it in an account. And like, I don't know about you, but if the money's not in my checking account, I don't spend it.
Yep.
Right? Like if I don't see it, I don't spend it.
Yeah. We
so
talk about this a lot because we love Real Wallet and Real Capital, and we've both leveraged it, and it's so cool. Like just to log in and be like, oh, there's $248,000 that I could borrow right now.
I
All
took
right.
I took a $150,000 loan, Katie, that I didn't need just for a piece of content because I wanted to tell people about it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fire. I'm gonna post this video. I never even posted it.
Didn't you buy a new Rolex? Is that
Katie, the problem is real right now.
It's his Rolex credit card.
No,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
what's
yeah,
so
yeah.
funny is I was gonna borrow the 150 and then just pay it back. Well, you know how money works. I ended up using it, and
Yeah.
like I had this big closing that was gonna be like 120. I was like, oh, I'll pay it back in one fell swoop. I ended up having that loan out for like 4 months because I like used the money, and I was like, oh, dang.
yeah? So
But it's
Those
it's amazing to
loafers.
log in, like you said,
Yeah.
and like there's $250,000 of like, hey, if you need capital, and when your business requires capital, if you want to grow and if you want to do good things, like cash flow allows you to keep your marketing sustainable. If you have a great hire and you don't have the capital, but there's talent available, well, now I can pay that person. So I don't think people understand from a business economic standpoint, having that sort of cash available to support growth and sustainability through, let's be honest, the last 4 years have been a sluggish real estate market.
Yeah.
Having a backstop like that goes a long way. So
Yeah.
that's been one of my favorite things that they've launched.
Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is Rev B, because I think that has been so cool to watch, and I want everyone to know about it. So what is Rev B?
For sure, Rev B, Real Estate Video Blueprint. Tim Macy and I had an idea back in late 2021 that we were super tired of hearing real estate coaches tell you that you should create video and that be the entire business plan, right? They didn't tell you what to do, they just told you that you should do it. And so we had the idea of like, hey, let's just like get together and like it'd be really cool to do like some mastermind around video and do this thing. And so the more and more we like kind of planned this out, it ended up being that we were like gonna rent like a conference room at a hotel, and then it turned into like, I think we could actually sell tickets and people would come to this, and we threw an event, right? And so this past April, a couple months ago, a month ago, we did our 5th Rev B in Nashville, Tennessee. And so it's basically the entire idea between our live event, our annual live event, and then our weekly mastermind that's free is like giving you the playbooks of people that are crushing it with content, building a personal brand. And like we try really hard to feature people that like are actually doing the things and are actually converting business, because we know a lot of people that have tons of views on their business but don't actually get business.
Yep.
Right. And so like we want to be able to give the things that are working and, you know, distill it down to the stuff that actually works so that people can just like take that and run with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, how cool is it that no matter how you come into Real, you can go to Katie and Tim's weekly call? And that's one of my favorite things too about Real is there's no silos. So if you're listening and you're at Real, this is totally open to you. If you come over and you're with Katie or not, like you get to go to this call. And so I think that that's so cool.
Where do people find it, Katie?
I mean, the easiest place would just be to go to realestatevideoblueprint.com. And yeah, all
Katie,
of the links to all the things we do are there.
You are amazing. What's your social? Where can people find you? Because you have a really good Instagram.
Yeah, best place would be Move Me to Texas. That's MOVEMETOTX.
Great IG follow. You are the North Star that we are chasing on RevShare, and 4,300 is just insane. You're also running a productive team. You're taking time out for us, so thank you. We appreciate you. Any last thoughts, Kristen?
I don't think so. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I'm so grateful you came on our podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
See you, Katie. Thank you, guys.